So Time Magazine released an interesting article recently about bragging about how powerful individuals were able to conspire behind the scenes in order to ensure that the election went the way that they wanted it to go. So this was titled "The Secret History of the Shadow Campaign That Saved the 2020 Election" by Molly Ball. And it goes on to say, in a way, Trump was right. There was a conspiracy unfolding behind the scenes, one that both curtailed the protests and coordinated the resistance from CEOs. Both surprises were the result of an informal alliance between left-wing activists and business titans. The pact was formalized in a terse, little-noticed joint statement of the U.S. Chambers of Commerce and AFL-CIO published on Election Day. Both sides will come to see it as a sort of implicit bargain inspired by the summer's massive, sometimes destructive racial justice protests in which the forces of labor came together with the forces of capital to keep the peace and oppose Trump's assault. That's why the participants want the secret history of the 2020 election told, even though it sounds like a paranoid fever dream, a well-funded cabal of powerful people ranging across industries and ideologies working together behind the scenes to influence perceptions, change rules and laws, steer media coverage, and control the flow of information. They were not rigging the election. They were, rigging is a bad word. How about we say fortifying it? By the way, don't forget to subscribe to my channel as well as like this video. Both go a long way in pushing back against the well-oiled machine and the algorithm seeking to suppress information that goes against the cabal's official narrative. Now, they don't even have to hide it anymore because they pretty much control everything. They control the media, the perspective, and the followers won't even pay any mind to the part saying how the information and their perspective has been manipulated. I'll put a link in the article below, but Time Magazine literally admitted that a secret cabal of powerful elites and corporations got together to hijack the 2020 election. In their own words, they influenced perceptions. They may have illegally changed the laws since the Constitution states that the election rules can only be made or changed by the state legislature, which in many of these states, my former home state of Pennsylvania, for instance, we know that did not happen. And they literally work to control the flow of information. Remember how legacy media refused to cover, or even they actively denied the legitimacy of the Hunter Biden scandal? How BigTech even collaborated with each other in order to suppress the article, mainly Facebook, and then you have Twitter that went a step further, and they actually not only disabled the link of the Hunter Biden scandal, an article, but they actually suspended the New York Post account. The New York Post. But then maybe 6 weeks after the election, after Joe Biden was in, all of a sudden they're like, oops, you know what? No, we made a mistake. This was a legit and real story, and he is under FBI investigation for his handlings with his China deal. Laura Quinn, a progressive operative, worked with social media to squash the free flow of information. Back in November of 2019, Mark Zuckerberg, CEO of Facebook, invited the Democratic groups to his home for dinner and to discuss how the platform could come up with vigorous rules to challenge the information that was coming from the right. And one of those individuals, Vinita Gupta, if I'm pronouncing her name right, has also met with CEO of Twitter, Jack Dorsey, at an unspecified time to do the same. Gupta has now been nominated for the Associate Attorney General for the Biden administration. Talk about your hard work and collaborative efforts paying off. I think Laura Logan pretty much put it best when she describes the effect that what the Times article is suggesting that they did when you have this collaborative effort of all of these forces in the media and big tech working together to influence the perceptions of the masses and the information that they see.
I said, well, Fox is going to do all the positive stuff. But this is the problem that I have. There's one Fox. Yeah. There's one Fox. Yeah. And there's many, many, many more organizations on the left. So if you say, well, people, they're lying about this and this propaganda and whatever, and they're pushing their viewpoint. Oh, well, the other side does that too. Yes. Both sides do terrible things. Both sides lie. Both sides manipulate. Both sides, push their point of view. But the problem is that the weight of all of these organizations on one side of the political spectrum, when you turn on your computer or you walk past the TV or you see a newspaper headline, in the grocery store, if they're all saying the same thing, the weight of that convinces you that it's true. Yeah. You don't question it because everyone is saying it. Yeah. And unless you seek out Breitbart on your computer, you're probably not even going to know what the other side is saying, right?
Now, aside from there being a need to look into the changing of the election rules that were not passed by state legislature, nothing illegal was explicitly discussed in the article. I will submit that. But what's most disturbing is the admittance that you had all of these extremely powerful individuals and industries working together in collaboration to grease the cogs in order to get the election results that they desired. How, despite Trump's massive leads in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Georgia, Michigan, at the night of the election, as late as 12:30 in the morning, even 1 in the morning, he had a massive lead in all of those states, over 100,000 votes. In Wisconsin and Michigan at the time, over 700,000 votes lead in Pennsylvania, despite about 5 million votes being casted at the time, just about. How Mike Porzer, if I'm pronouncing his name right from the article, just knew that things were still in the bag. He was very confident based upon his models that, okay, despite this massive lead at the midnight hour, we got this. And let's not forget about the state attorney general of Pennsylvania also knowing days before the election that after all of the votes were going to be tallied, Trump was going to lose. How did they know this? And how were they able to have complete control of the perceptions? And that's also very disturbing. How they were able to control the perceptions of the masses and the information that they consume. That means that any information that you think you have or know, you only know because these suits in these big corporate offices and industries decided what you could see, what you were allowed to hear, what you were allowed to know, and what you couldn't know. Your perception is not your own. That's why there can be thousands of pages of sworn affidavits, hundreds of individuals coming forward in sworn statements, and the media can then say to those who consume the media's propaganda and how they can get away with saying that there's no evidence here. Hide the evidence or paint it as baseless, then of course the people who consume the media are going to say or reach that same conclusion. So that's all I really had to say. It's a very interesting article, how bold they think they are in being able to get away with this and just put it out there with no repercussions. There's no fear of repercussions. Why? Again, they control the media. Everything's working on their side. Social media. It's probably going to work hard to ban this video or suppress it. I might even get a warning. They might even remove this video under some false pretense that I'm just reporting on an article. Essentially, what the article said, it's out there. Twitter's regurgitating it. And so, but I wouldn't be surprised if they try to push it in the algorithms and or try to give it a warning. So please want to encourage you to like this video, share this video, comment on this video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel to try to beat the algorithm, just in case if the massive purge happens and I get affected. I've already had one warning for merely bringing up some of the irregularities before. And I also did a video on voter irregularities. Go check that out. But again, the boldness of the Times article to be able to come out with this, knowing that they've got half of the country already buying what it is they say. And like I said, those who like the outcome, those who voted Democrat, are probably going to look at this article and say, but they didn't do anything illegal. Yes, there was collusion and rigging of the system. And I find it funny they chose to rephrase the word instead of rigging to fortify, whatever that means. But they'll read the article and say, well, we got our results and nothing illegal was done, without actually reading between the lines. And a lot of them will actually just read the headlines and just say, oh, democracy was saved. They won't even see the fact that their own perceptions were being manipulated and or controlled. The information that they see is being controlled as well and or filtered for them. And they're not going to put two and two together as to how the conclusion they're drawing is coming from the very same cabal that is feeding them this narrative. So that's my video. Tell me what you think in the comment section below. Again, don't forget to like this video, share this video, and subscribe to my channel. This is Bruce the Boss Brooks, and I'm out. Peace.